we're all learning all the time. So you won't be surprised to hear that, yes, I'm imperfect as well, just like everybody. You know, case in point, as I was walking here on the footpath, 2 cyclists, and it just annoys me, you know? And the thing is, in any of these situations where you get irritated, where you're reactive, you're not living in the present moment, you have to ask yourself the question, what am I learning from this? What am I learning from this? Am I being robbed of my peacefulness? Am I being robbed of my progress by thinking destructive thoughts? And we can't really control the emotions. They happen so fast. And I'm not saying it's a complete impossibility, but being a responsible adult means that you take responsibility for however you behave in whatever given situation. And it is extraordinarily difficult to master. It's not an easy thing to do, but it's certainly a worthwhile thing to do. And yesterday I did quite a lot of comments on Twitter. Today I haven't as yet done as many, done quite a few, but I actually got embroiled in a bit of a comment war. And it was quite funny actually, because I used it as something of a psychological and emotional exercise on myself. Because, you know, people go on about my teeth and said, oh, you know, you're a bald guy. And it's like, well, okay, fair enough, fine. Because I haven't heard this before. You're like so original. And I had a bit of a lark with all of it. And I was sending funny GIFs. And I was saying, I don't mind if you disagree with me. I don't. Because what really matters? It's a really good question to ask yourself at any point. Does what this person is saying actually matter? Does it? Is it going to improve my life disagreeing with that person, getting angry with that person? Is that going to make my life better? Well, you and I know the answer, don't we? We know that the answer to most of the stuff that's thrown at us is that it doesn't matter. It's not important. It's not relevant. What does matter is that you don't let anything unnecessarily hinder your progress. You don't allow negative thoughts to impact your life that much. And when we hear something, we react to it the way that we react to it. But what does extreme ownership Martin do? What does extreme ownership, you know, Bob, Sue, Jenny, thank you very much for your comments recently. What does extreme ownership Martin do? What would James Bond do in this situation? Well, he'd go to the bar and he'd have another Vespa martini, and you know, he wouldn't get offended by people who have no profile pictures of themselves. He wouldn't get offended by total strangers. He wouldn't get offended by comments that don't improve his bank balance or make him fitter or healthier. Wouldn't be bothered. And I think it's a good aspiration. For a long time, it doesn't sound like a grand aspiration, but for a long time, I summed up my aspiration in life to be, I just won't let that bother me. It's a good place to be, because let's face it, being bothered is a distraction. It's a very convenient way, frankly. We're talking about dopamine release and engagement on Twitter. It's a very, very convenient form of procrastination, is it not? So don't let it. And do you know what? I tweeted earlier that, well, actually I scheduled the tweet, that Twitter or any social media platform, it's a playground. And the vast majority of the discourse on there It doesn't really progress far beyond adolescence and, school talking points. Most of the time it's inconsequential and people being offended on your behalf. So choose to live the nobler life. And do you know what that means? It means pursuing the good and the truthful, and anything else, frankly, is not worth your time.